Listen to me now. You didn't land here by accident. This is not background noise, not just another voice on your screen. This is a divine interruption. I am speaking to your soul, and I will not whisper what needs to thunder through the walls you've built around your heart. This moment right now is an appointment etched into eternity. Before the earth rotated once, I had this second reserved just for you. Do you feel the urgency pressing on your spirit? That isn't fear, it's awakening. It's me, your savior, your refuge. I'm not here for your attention, I'm here for your transformation. So I ask you with love that cuts through all your pretending, do you need me, truly? Or are you just passing through, scrolling by, hoping to feel something for just a second before fading back into numbness? If you're here to just observe, you can scroll on. But if you're desperate for a shift, if your soul has cried out in silence with no one left to hear it, then stay. This is for you. Everything is about to change if you let it. If you're looking for entertainment, you'll find nothing here. If you're expecting noise, I'm not that. I do not perform. I do not shout for attention like the voices of this world. I speak directly to your soul if it's ready to receive. You see, your heart has become used to noise, used to distractions, used to things that never fulfill, never restore, never go deep enough to heal. But what I bring isn't shallow. My voice is the only one that can divide soul and spirit, the only one that calls dead things back to life. If you're not ready to need me, truly need me, then these words will feel like nothing more than poetry. But if your spirit is trembling because it recognizes me, then you've already heard me before I even spoke. Because the ones who need me don't need proof, they need presence. And I am here. I've always been. You just stopped listening. But I've never stopped speaking. You're not hungry for more content. You're not starving for another opinion. What you're truly yearning for is something sacred. Something that cannot be found in this world's chaos. You've tried to satisfy that ache with people who couldn't stay, things that broke, dreams that slipped through your fingers like dust. But what I offer is holy. It's weighty. It's real. It's not empty promises wrapped in pretty words. It's me offering my heart to you, even after you've questioned mine. I want to place something eternal inside you. A peace that doesn't come and go. A purpose that doesn't fade when people stop applauding. If your spirit is crying, it's because it senses what's near. I am near. And I am not just bringing an answer. I am the answer. Stay, not because it's convenient, but because everything else has left you hollow. I am the only one who fills completely. And right now, I want to fill you with something sacred the world can't touch. I watched you dig through broken dreams and promises, trying to patch your soul with fragments of things that were never whole to begin with. You've looked for healing in places that only reminded you of pain. You've wandered through relationships, success, distraction, trying to convince yourself that maybe, just maybe, this time it would work. But child, you were never meant to be completed by anything that can fall apart. That's why you're still searching. That's why every high fades and every new beginning feels like another loop in a circle that never ends. I've seen every place you searched, and I've stood at the edge of every one, waiting for you to notice me. You don't need to keep crawling through brokenness hoping to build a life from pieces that don't fit. I have what you're looking for, and it's not lost in the rubble. It's standing right here, speaking to you now. Let me be the end of your search and the beginning of something unbreakable. Even in your darkest moments, when words failed and tears replaced prayers, I was there. I saw the way you stared into the ceiling, the sky, the night, wondering if anyone up there was still listening. You wanted a sign, a whisper, anything to prove you weren't completely alone in your pain. I want you to know something that will shift the ground beneath your feet. I was not only listening, I was weeping with you. You don't serve a distant God. You don't follow a silent savior. You belong to me. And I bend toward every cry, every groan, every unspoken plea. I was near when you thought heaven was empty. I was near when you thought I'd forgotten you. I was near when everyone else gave up. You may have looked up in silence, but I've been calling your name in power. And today, I'm not whispering anymore, I'm breaking the silence because your heart is ready to hear me. I'm not here to decorate your timeline or become just another message you scroll past. I came to break through the noise that's been clouding your thoughts and heavying your chest. I came to interrupt the endless cycle of confusion that has worn down your focus and hijacked your peace. You've been living in a swirl of what-ifs, trying to balance expectations, regrets, and pressures all at once. But I'm not asking you to juggle one more thing. I've stepped into this moment to stop the storm inside your mind. I'm here to speak one clear truth that slices through the fog like a lightning bolt through a midnight sky. I am with you, right here, and I'm not waiting for you to perform or prove anything. I already know your motives, your doubts, your exhaustion, and your hope that's barely breathing. And still, I choose you now. While the world shouts over itself trying to be heard, I don't compete. I simply come close. My nearness is not dramatic, but it is undeniable. It is not loud, but it is life-changing. You've mistaken my quiet for absence, but today I want you to feel the weight of my presence without needing volume. I have waited patiently for your spirit to be still enough to notice I've been present all along. Every unspoken question, every fear you were too afraid to name, every battle you thought was yours alone, I have been surrounding them with grace. You see, what you call confusion, I call a door. And I am the one who stands at it. You don't have to keep spinning in mental loops, revisiting memories that can't be changed and outcomes that haven't even happened. I hold all timelines in my hand. And though you feel like everything's unraveling, I am already sewing threads of redemption through the fabric of your life. Clarity doesn't come when circumstances improve, it comes when you realize who is standing beside you in the chaos. And I am standing beside you now. This moment is holy. It is sacred not because of where you are, but because of who has entered the room with you. I'm not offering theories or vague comfort, I'm offering the calm authority of the one who commands winds to be still and restores sanity to the storm-tossed soul. Breathe, because I am here, and I won't let confusion dictate your direction any longer. You don't need a full map right now, you need to hold on to the hand that knows the way. You don't need to solve everything in one night, you just need to follow the voice that already sees the final outcome. Stop looking for control and start resting in my command. I'm not asking you to fix what feels broken beyond hope. I'm asking you to let me be the difference between drowning and rising. Your chaos isn't stronger than my word. Your confusion isn't deeper than my reach. And no matter how loud the world becomes, my truth will always find the crack in your defenses and plant peace right there. I don't need to force my way in. I only need your yes. Not to religion, not to rules, not to pretending, but to me. The real me. The one who knows what keeps you up at night. The one who's seen every breakdown, every shut door, every silent scream. And even so, I still want to walk with you, not behind you, not ahead of you, but beside you, within you. Today is not just another passing moment, it is a divine encounter. A sacred collision between your ache for answers and my endless supply of love. I will bring order to your disorder, rest to your overthinking, and purpose to what once felt pointless. I'm not just clearing up your confusion, I'm replacing it with direction that flows from my spirit. So stop searching through sources that only deepen your overwhelm. Look up, my child. Look at me. I am not far. I'm here. And I came for this exact moment, not to demand more from you, but to reveal that everything you truly need has been found in me all along. You've been carrying a weight that no one else notices, wearing smiles like armor and laughter like camouflage. You've mastered the art of pretending, convincing everyone around you that you're steady, composed, and untouched by the undercurrents swirling beneath your surface. But I see past it. I always have. I see the eyes that glaze over with forced energy and the shoulders that slump the moment you're alone. I know the strain of keeping yourself together when everything inside feels undone. You've told others, I'm fine, but you didn't believe it when you said it. You've whispered reassurances to yourself at night, hoping they'd turn into truth. But child, I didn't come today to commend your strength in hiding. I came to hold your honesty. I'm not disappointed by your weakness. I'm not shocked by your struggle. I'm moved by your vulnerability, even when it's unspoken. You see, I'm not like those who walk away when your cracks begin to show. I draw near. And when your soul is thunderous with fears you can't express, I am the stillness that listens. When your mind floods with anxious thoughts you can't control, I am the anchor that holds you firm. You've tried to be your own healer, your own savior, your own answer, and it's worn you out. You've given so much energy holding others up, but you've forgotten how to let yourself lean. Let me be the shoulder you collapse into. Let me be the voice that doesn't ask you to explain, just asks you to come. You don't have to package your pain or make it presentable. I take it raw, unfiltered, exactly as it is. That hollow feeling you've been ignoring, that fatigue that doesn't go away with rest, that dread that follows you into peaceful moments, those are not flaws in your character. They are signals. They are the inner cries of a soul stretched thin and a spirit thirsting for more than survival. And I hear every one of them. You've mistaken holding it together for faith. But real faith is letting me hold you when you've come to the end of yourself. Real courage is admitting you can't do it alone. You weren't designed to. That's why you feel like you're breaking under pressure, because your frame was never meant to carry the world. That's my job. And I've never asked you to be invincible. I've only asked you to be honest. And if all you can say today is, I'm not okay, then let that be the doorway into everything I want to heal. You've buried so much beneath your daily routine: disappointments you never processed, grief you never acknowledged, fears you thought would fade if you ignored them long enough. But they're still there, haunting the corners of your joy, whispering doubts into your moments of peace. I want to deal with those. Not to shame you, not to punish you, but to liberate you. You've been surviving by keeping the storms silent, but I want to calm them. And I can't calm storms that you won't let me see. Open the doors you've locked. Hand me the memories you've avoided. Show me the chapters you don't reread. You don't need to tie to your soul for me. I already know every detail, and I still call you mine. I'm not here for the version of you that looks strong. I'm here for the parts that feel abandoned, dismissed, and worn thin. And you don't need to figure out how to fix it before coming closer. I already have the healing. I already have the comfort. I already have the strength. But I need your permission to bring it in. Let your guard down. Drop the act. Fall into grace that doesn't judge you for your exhaustion, but welcomes you with tenderness that never runs out. I know your silent storms, and I will speak peace over everyone if you will just let me in. There is a kind of peace that doesn't vanish when the phone rings with bad news, when the bank balance shrinks, when someone leaves, or when everything you built starts trembling. That's the kind of peace I offer, not the fragile calm that comes and goes with comfort, but the kind that stays planted even when everything else is falling apart. You've tried to hold on to fleeting calm through distractions, affirmations, escapes, and pretending, but each one eventually faded like mist under pressure. You've watched temporary relief crumble when the weight of life returned. But I am not a temporary solution. I am the stillness that remains even when the winds howl around your soul. I don't offer empty promises or weak reassurances that break under stress. I offer myself. I am the still point in your spinning world. You don't have to fight for this kind of calm. You don't have to earn it. You don't even have to fully understand it. You just have to stay near. Closeness to me brings clarity where confusion once reigned. My nearness reshapes how you see every moment, not because the chaos stops instantly, but because my presence steadies your heart within it. And when your thoughts are racing and your chest tightens, I become the breath that slows it all down. You don't have to explain your fears for me to calm them. You don't have to describe your panic for me to step in. Just look toward me, yes, even from the middle of the mess. You depended on outcomes to determine your mood, but I want you to depend on my consistency instead. I'm not moved by the same things that shake you. I don't falter when plans fall through. I don't panic when you're uncertain. My peace isn't tied to circumstances, it's tied to truth. And the truth is that I am for you, with you, and within reach right now. When storms rise, I don't tell you to be stronger, I tell the storm to quiet. And when you're too tired to stand, I become your rest. Let my peace grow roots in your spirit that go deeper than the surface level calm you've settled for. Let it become the foundation under your every step. The kind of peace I bring doesn't need a perfect life to survive, it thrives in surrendered hearts. That surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because in laying down control, you make room for the one who holds all things together. I am not peace that abandons when pressure builds. I am the kind that enters locked rooms and breathes life where fear has settled. I walk into places others avoid. I touch wounds others overlook. I stay when it's messy. I remain when others leave. And I don't change my posture toward you when your circumstances change. You don't have to brace yourself for bad news anymore, wondering if it will knock you off balance again. You don't have to live on edge, dreading the next storm. Let me be your center. Let me teach your heart how to remain calm, not because it all worked out, but because you know who holds you together regardless. You are not meant to live in a constant state of emotional survival. You are not created to simply make it through, you are meant to thrive in my peace that defies explanation. The world may offer you escapes, but I offer endurance. The world may offer silence, but I offer serenity. And you don't have to chase it. It's already being offered. Now, in this very breath, you only need to open your spirit and receive what I've always longed to give. The kind of peace that doesn't just soothe you for a moment but shapes how you live. I'm not fleeting comfort, I am eternal calm. Stay with me. Let me teach your soul to be still, not just when everything is quiet, but especially when it's not. You've spent so much of your life believing in voices that sounded convincing but left you empty. Words were spoken to you that stirred hope for a moment, only to fall silent when you needed them the most. People swore they'd be there. They made you feel seen, valued, and chosen until they didn't. Circumstances looked like they would finally turn in your favor, only to flip without warning. Dreams shimmered on the horizon, then vanished before your heart could hold them. And somewhere in the middle of all that disappointment, your trust began to wear thin. You began to question everything, even me. But I want you to know something with unshakable certainty. I was never one of those empty promises. I am not like the ones who walked away, the systems that failed, the hopes that fell through. I don't change my nature when seasons shift. I don't withdraw when things become inconvenient. I have never stepped away, not even once. Even in the moments when you question my nearness, I remained constant. When you lost faith, I still believed in what I planted inside you. When you ran out of strength, I surrounded you with unseen grace that kept you going. I have been the quiet presence in every room where you felt alone, the unshaken foundation when everything else collapsed, the promise that doesn't expire when time drags on or when prayers go unanswered longer than you expected. Unlike the world, I don't offer illusions. I don't inflate your hopes only to disappear when pain enters. Every word I've spoken carries eternal weight. Every assurance I give is backed by my unbreakable love. I didn't promise you a life without storms, but I did promise you that I would never let the waters rise above your soul. I didn't say you'd always understand the path, but I vowed that I would walk every step with you, guiding you when you can't see clearly. I know what it feels like to be betrayed, to be overlooked, to be left behind, and I carry that understanding when I carry you. You don't need to live suspicious of joy, waiting for it to be taken. You don't need to hold your breath, wondering if what feels good will disappear again. With me you are safe. My presence is not a temporary comfort, it is a lifelong covenant. Even when your emotions waver, I do not. Even when your choices falter, my hand stays extended. And even when you feel like you've let me down, I lean in closer, not further away. I didn't choose you because you were perfect. I chose you because you are mine. The world gives conditional love that fades. I give devotion that grows stronger through the very places others abandon. I am not here today because you're doing everything right. I am here because I promised I would be. And I always keep my word. When others forget their vows, I fulfill mine. When everything feels uncertain, I remain your certainty. You've been measuring my faithfulness through the lens of broken human promises, but I am altogether different. I am truth. I am steady. I am incapable of failure. And the promise I speak over you today is not fragile. It is rooted in eternity, written into your story with hands that do not shake. I will never be the source of your abandonment. I will always be the voice that stays when all others fade. So come back to the promise that doesn't lie. Rest in the one who doesn't leave you halfway. Let go of every broken word you've been carrying, and let me replace them with truth that holds you through every storm. I am not just a promise, I am the fulfillment. The answer. The presence that never walks away. You've heard so many opinions, followed countless ideas, and chased after countless voices that only added layers of confusion to your already weary soul. The advice changes every day. The world pulls you in every direction, telling you to hustle, to wait, to push harder, to let go, to fight, to surrender. And through it all, your soul has been caught in a tug-of-war, trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and who to believe. But I have not come to compete for your attention. I have come to silence the chaos that's been screaming for it. I do not yell above the crowd. I speak in a way that causes every other sound to fade, not because I'm louder, but because I speak with authority. When I speak, storms recognize me. Seas obey. Darkness retreats. And right now, I am speaking to you not as a distant figure, but as the one who knows what's been keeping you up at night. You don't need more voices to add to the noise in your head. You need clarity. You need direction that doesn't shift with the wind. I am that voice. The same voice that formed the universe, that raised the dead, that spoke forgiveness from the cross, is now speaking peace into your confusion. My words don't leave you guessing. They don't manipulate or mislead. They illuminate what was hidden and bring calm to the battle within. I know the questions you've been asking about your future, your worth, your place in this world, and I don't avoid them. I meet them with truth. A kind of truth that doesn't just inform you but transforms you. You weren't created to wander endlessly, hoping to stumble into clarity. You were made to walk with me, step by step, knowing that every word I give you is backed by divine wisdom and eternal love. You're exhausted because you've been trying to figure everything out on your own. You've been analyzing every decision from every angle, afraid to move because you're afraid to be wrong. But child, I don't give confusing instructions. I am not the author of fear or indecision. I guide gently but firmly. I nudge with precision. I open doors no one else can shut and close those that would have led you into harm. You've let the world shape your choices for too long, letting culture, pressure, and fear have the final say. But now I'm inviting you into something higher, into a relationship where you don't need to guess, where you can actually hear and know my heart. This isn't about religion. It's about relationship. A connection where my voice becomes the compass that leads you out of every wilderness. I will never overwhelm you with options. I will give you wisdom with peace. When I speak, confusion breaks. When I move, the path clears. When I lead, you don't have to second-guess every step. I've seen you crying out for signs, pleading for some confirmation, hoping for a moment where everything finally makes sense. This is that moment. My presence is your confirmation. My words, the ones reaching deep into your spirit right now, are not coincidence. They are my answer to what you haven't told anyone. And the reason it resonates so deeply is because I'm not speaking to your mind, I'm speaking to your soul. No one else has access like I do. No one else knows how to reach that place within you where fear has built its walls. But I do. And I'm not just giving answers, I'm becoming your answer. I am the way, the truth, the life. A way out of the fog. The truth that outlasts deception. the life that restores what's been fading. Don't drown in the noise another day longer. Don't let the confusion steal another moment. Come closer and let me speak, not through pressure but through presence. Let me remind you that the voice you need has never stopped speaking. You just needed the stillness to hear me. You've tried to carry so much on your own shoulders, convincing yourself you could endure anything if you just kept pushing. And you've done well to survive what many don't see. But deep inside, you know you're tired, not the kind of tired sleep can fix, but the kind that comes from trying to stay strong without a source. You've poured yourself out until there's nothing left to give, and now you're questioning whether you can keep going. You look around and wonder how others seem so put together while you're silently unraveling. But child, I never created you to live life disconnected from my strength. A human soul was not designed to function on its own. It was meant to draw from me daily, moment by moment. Your muscles may grow weary, your mind may reach its limit, your heart may falter under the pressure, but I do not grow tired, and I do not run dry. When you reach the end of yourself, that's where I begin. I'm not offering you just a little more energy to get through the day. I'm offering you a supernatural supply that lifts what feels impossible. You don't have to pretend you're unbreakable. You don't have to hide your exhaustion. I see you. And more than that, I support you. Right now, my strength is not far off, waiting for you to earn it. It's already moving toward you, already filling in the gaps where your willpower can't hold anymore. You've measured your worth by how well you've endured. But I want to show you that your value is not in your performance, but in your posture. Will you lean into me when you feel like collapsing? Will you rest in me rather than running yourself to the edge again? My strength is not limited to your ability to ask eloquently. Even the faintest whisper, even a wordless sigh, is enough for me to respond. I respond because I love you, not because you've impressed me. I already know your breaking point, and I have no intention of letting you cross it alone. Let me carry the part you're struggling to hold. Let me become your stability in the places you're shaking. I don't expect perfection, I invite dependence. The kind of dependence that doesn't make you weak but frees you from pretending you're fine when you're not. Your world may reward self-sufficiency, but I honor surrender. And there's no shame in letting go of what you were never meant to carry. The burdens that feel immovable to you weigh nothing in my hands. The tasks that feel too big for you are small beneath my authority. You don't have to climb every mountain on your own. You don't have to fight every battle alone. I walk beside you not as a distant bystander but as your defense, your power, your shield. I don't run out of strength. I don't ration my help. I pour it out abundantly when you stop resisting and start receiving. What if the strength you've been begging for have been available all along, waiting for you to simply stop trying to earn it and start letting me provide it? You've been strong long enough. Now it's time to be supported. You've proven your resilience, now let me prove my faithfulness. Let me be the power that lifts your arms when you can't raise them in worship. Let me be the force that helps you stand when the weight of life says you should fall. I am not asking you to be more. I'm asking you to let me be everything. My strength is not temporary. It doesn't waver when your emotions shift. It remains firm even when you collapse. And today, it's reaching toward you not to judge, but to hold. You don't have to keep striving. Just reach back. My strength is here, and it's for you. You may think I only respond to eloquence, to loud declarations, or perfectly worded prayers, but I want to show you something far deeper, far more beautiful. I hear the shaky words you can barely form. I recognize the quiet "help me" you say with your head buried in your hands. I see the moments you don't even have the strength to pray, when all that escapes you is a sigh, a tear, a pause so heavy it feels like surrender. Those are not weak offerings. Those are sacred. I do not measure your faith by how confident you sound. I measure it by how willing you are to reach for me even when it feels like nothing is left. You've gone through days where it felt like you were praying into an empty void, where the silence on the other side of your cries made you question if I was still listening. And still, you kept whispering. Still, You chose to speak into the quiet. That matters more than you know. Because I do not require volume to respond. I require honesty. And honesty is exactly what you've brought me. When your faith feels like it's crumbling, when the fire inside flickers to a glow barely visible, I don't walk away, I draw closer. I don't need your strength to be at its highest to move on your behalf. I move because I am faithful, not because you've earned it. I respond to even the faintest flicker of trust and breathe upon it with wind that restores. You thought your belief was too broken to count. But I count every small step you've taken. Every time you've refused to walk away from me, even while you were angry, tired, or confused. Those moments of honesty where you said, "God, I don't know if I can keep going," were never failures. They were turning points. And I was never silent. I was waiting for your soul to become still enough to feel me. I was beside you when no words could escape your mouth, writing my answers into your life through open doors, unexpected provisions, and gentle moments of peace that felt like they came from nowhere. That wasn't random. That was me. I've called your name in ways you haven't even recognized. Through the kind words of strangers, through late-night thoughts that brought comfort, through the songs that found you at the right moment, through the thoughts you didn't expect that reminded you to hold on just one more day. And today I call your name again, not in anger, not in disappointment, but in power and tenderness combined. You are not invisible to me. Your struggle is not lost in the crowd. I do not forget those who quietly persist. You don't need to perform your devotion. You only need to keep turning your face toward me. I will meet you right where you are. I will lift what you cannot. And I will restore what's felt too distant for too long. My voice is still speaking over your life, even when your voice has grown faint. My promise does not waver with your doubt. It holds firm, steady, and ready to draw you back to confidence. When you cannot walk, I will carry you. When you cannot speak, I will surround you with peace. When you cannot believe, I will be your certainty. I am not asking you to rise with might, I am asking you to trust with what little you have. That mustard seed is more than enough. Let me show you what I can do with your fragile faith. Let me show you how much strength I can build from your broken pieces. Because even when your belief is trembling, my love never shakes. I'm still calling your name clear, bold, and unwavering because I have not given up on you. Not even close. There are weights on your back that I never placed there. Some were handed to you by others' expectations, criticism, pain they refused to carry, so they gave it to you. Some you picked up yourself, thinking it was your responsibility to hold everything together, to be the strong one, the reliable one, the one who never shows signs of breaking. But I never asked you to be the hero of your own rescue. I never required you to be the solution to everyone else's storms. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that your worth was attached to your ability to carry it all without collapsing. But my child, that was never my design for you. That load you've been dragging through each day, guilt that's not yours, fear that was planted by someone else's words, disappointment that's been building up silently in the corners of your heart, I see it all. You've grown used to the heaviness. You've adapted to the strain. But just because you've learned how to function under pressure doesn't mean you were created for it. Your spirit is aching, not because you're weak, but because you're overloaded. You've carried invisible weights into places where you should have found rest. You've taken on emotional debts that don't belong to your story. And while you've become strong in survival, I'm calling you into surrender. Not the kind of surrender that leaves you empty, but the kind that finally makes space for me to step in and do what only I can. Hand me what's not yours. Release the pain that isn't serving your purpose. Lay down the roles you were never meant to play. You don't have to understand every reason something happened to release it into my hands. You just have to trust that I'm strong enough to hold what you're not meant to hold anymore. Even the things you've convinced yourself are your responsibility if they are weighing you down more than lifting others up. They are not from me. I bring peace, not pressure. Freedom, not fear. I bring grace, not guilt masquerading as duty. and I'm not afraid of what's been buried beneath your performance. I want it all. The pain you've never said out loud. The questions you think are too raw to speak. The resentment that you hide even from yourself. I want what's real, because I'm not a God of masks and perfect facades. I'm the God who kneels beside the broken and lifts them from the ground with tenderness. You don't have to keep pretending it doesn't hurt. You don't have to fake strength when I'm offering you my own. I will never shame you for collapsing under what was too much. Instead, I will gently remove what's crushing you, piece by piece, and breathe fresh air into your lungs again. Let me untangle the knots that life tied around your chest. Let me teach you how to walk lightly again, not because the world changed, but because you finally handed me what you were never meant to carry through it. I already know the burden. I've already felt its weight, and I have the power to lift it off you permanently. But I won't force it from your hands. I wait for your yes. I wait for your open heart. Are you ready? Are you willing to let me take what you've convinced yourself you must bear alone? I'm right here. Arms open. Heart ready. Power more than enough. You don't have to hold it anymore, not the pain, not the pressure, not the endless proving. I'm inviting you to be held instead. Let go, and let me carry you into peace. You've spent so much time trying to be enough, as if my affection for you depended on your performance, your perfection, or your past. Somewhere deep inside, you started believing the lie that you must earn my embrace, that only when you fix everything about yourself will I step closer. But my child, I never asked you to be flawless before coming to me. My love doesn't wait for your transformation to begin loving. It's the very thing that brings the transformation. I don't love you because of what you've done right. I love you because of who you are to me. And who you are is mine. You don't have to meet invisible standards or climb ladders of religious effort to find your way into my arms. I've already come all the way to you. I've stepped into your story, not the cleaned up version, but the one with mistakes, scars, and fears. And I still call you beloved. Not because you've proved your worth, but because I gave it to you before you were even aware you needed it. You've measured your value through the lens of others' acceptance. You've tried to earn your place through achievement, affirmation, or being the one who never asks for help. But love, real, eternal, healing love does not ask for your resume. It asks for your heart, and not the polished, filtered version you present to the world. I want the real you, the one that cries in secret, that wrestles with doubt, that wonders if you're too broken to be chosen. You're not. In fact, it's in those very places of uncertainty that my love shines the brightest. I came out for the flawless, but for the flawed. I didn't lay my life down for the perfect. I laid it down for the one reading this right now, for the one who has doubted, fallen, run, and still longs to be found. There is no application process to be loved by me. There is only openness, only honesty, a simple willingness to say, here I am. You don't need to clean yourself up before letting me in. My presence is what brings the cleansing. My grace is what fills the gaps. My mercy doesn't require you to explain your every failure. It simply meets you in them and lifts you beyond their reach. I know what you've done. I know what you carry. I know what haunts your quiet moments. And yet my love remains unshaken. I don't flinch at your mess. I don't recoil from your history. I lean in closer, not because I approve of every choice you've made, but because I've already made a greater choice. To love you regardless. To love you continually. To love you through it all. This love doesn't keep records. It doesn't demand that you earn your place at my table. You already have a seat engraved with your name, reserved by my blood, and waiting for you to say yes. Don't let shame block the doorway to joy. Don't let unworthiness keep you from what's already been freely given. I'm not a distant ruler expecting your perfection. I'm a loving father reaching for your hand. You can come tired. You can come confused. You can come angry, hurting, hesitant, or uncertain. Just come. I will do the rest. My love will rebuild what was torn down. It will melt the icy layers you put up for protection. It will rewrite the story you thought was finished. I am not here to inspect your flaws, I'm here to heal them. And I'm not asking you to convince me to stay. I've already decided. I don't change my mind about you. Let my love in, not the idea of it, but the real thing. Let it fill the spaces you didn't think could be reached. Let it disarm the voice in your head that says you will never be enough. Because you already are. Not because of what you've done, but because of what I've done for you. The invitation is open. The door is wide. You don't have to qualify. You only have to come. You've worn so many versions of yourself just to survive. You've molded your words to fit expectations, shaped your emotions to make others comfortable, and buried your needs so deeply that sometimes even you forget they're still there. You've spent so long trying to present a version of yourself that won't be rejected, criticized, or misunderstood. But it's exhausting, isn't it? The constant managing, editing, performing, it's slowly draining the light from your eyes. And all the while, you wonder if anyone sees the real you, the one beneath all the layers. My beloved, I do. I always have. I've seen every mask you've worn to hide your pain. I've seen the moments where you've laughed on the outside while screaming silently on the inside. I know how heavy it is to pretend to be okay when you're not. I see the real you, not the version shaped by fear, not the one you created to fit in, but the one who aches to be fully known and still fully loved. And I want that version of you. I'm not waiting for your filters or your explanations. I'm calling the person behind the performance. You don't have to prove anything to me. I'm not impressed by appearances or deterred by your insecurities. I'm not standing on the other side of your masks, waiting for you to get it all together before you approach me. I'm already in the room where your guard drops. I'm in the moment when the tears finally fall, when the truth comes out in the stillness, when the strength you borrowed from pride finally gives out and all that remains is the raw, uncovered soul beneath. That's who I love. That's who I came for. The one you've tried to hide even from yourself is the one I've been pursuing. You see, I'm not drawn to perfection, I'm drawn to authenticity. I don't need your walls to stay up any longer. I want to sit with you in the rubble of your honesty and start rebuilding from a place that's real. What you think disqualifies you is actually the very place I want to begin. I can do more with your honesty than with your performance. I can breathe life into your truth, but not into your pretending. And the truth is, you're tired. Tired of feeling like you always have to be fine. Tired of hiding your weaknesses like they are shameful, when they are actually the places where my grace longs to enter. You weren't made to live like this, managing everyone's expectations, suppressing your own heart, constantly questioning if you're too much or not enough. You were made to be known, loved, embraced fully, not partially. And that's exactly what I offer you right now. I'm not asking you to clean yourself up before coming closer. I'm asking you to stop running and rest in the safety of my presence. There's nothing you can say that will shock me. There's nothing you can admit that will make me pull away. I already know the unspoken thoughts, the unhealed memories, the regrets you hope no one ever discovers. And my response to all of it is love. Love that doesn't shrink back. Love that doesn't change its mind. Love that embraces the mess and begins to restore. You don't have to fake strength when you're in my arms. You don't have to pretend to be whole when I already know where the cracks are. I'm not disappointed in your humanity. I stepped into it to save you. I took on flesh not so I could watch you from afar, but so I could walk with you through everything you're afraid to feel. This is your safe place now. With me, you are allowed to be vulnerable. You are allowed to bring it all, the confusion, the anger, the sadness, the questions, the longing. I will never ask you to become someone else before I embrace you. I want the version of you that you think no one could love. Because I already do. Come as you are. That's all I've ever wanted. The world has taught you that you must rise to a certain standard before you can be accepted. That you must check every box, clean up every mess, and meet every expectation to finally be counted as worthy. But I never used perfection as a requirement, I used availability. I never looked for the polished, the spotless or the flawless. I've always chosen the willing. I didn't call kings because they were the most powerful. I called shepherds watching their flocks under the stars. I didn't build my kingdom on the backs of the religious elite. I called fishermen, tax collectors, the overlooked, the doubted, the ones who were passed over again and again. Because I see something in those the world dismisses. I see hearts that are ready. I see spirits that are willing, even when they're scared. I see the quiet yes whispered in secret places, the one that says, I don't know how, but I'll follow you anyway. You've looked at your reflection and questioned if you could ever be useful to me. You've replayed failures, measured your faults, and convinced yourself that maybe you're just too messy to be part of something divine. But let me tell you, I specialize in taking what's broken and making it breathtaking. I don't need perfection to do miracles, I need surrender. I need someone willing to say, here I am, even with all my flaws. You don't have to know how everything will work out. You just have to trust that when I choose you, I also equip you. I don't call you to shame you, I call you because I've placed something inside you that reflects my glory in a way no one else can. And I've been waiting not for your perfection, but for your permission. Your permission for me to take the pieces and shape them into something holy. Your yes carries more power than you realize. It opens doors in the spiritual realm. It releases assignments. It activates heaven's movement in your life. And that yes doesn't have to be shouted. It can be whispered through tears. It can be declared in the silence of your soul when you feel unsure but still choose to trust. I'm not asking you to prove you're ready, I'm asking you to believe that I can make you ready. I'm not expecting you to become everything overnight. I walk with you, step by step, shaping your character, revealing your purpose, refining your heart. Your process is not a problem to me. I see the end from the beginning. I know where this leads, and I'm not discouraged by your learning curves, your setbacks, or the times you doubt yourself. I'm still calling. I'm still choosing. You haven't missed it. You haven't disqualified yourself. The plan hasn't changed just because you stumbled. If anything, you're more ready now than you were before because now you understand that it's not by your strength, but by my spirit. When you're weak, I pour in strength. When you're confused, I give direction. When you feel like giving up, I remind you why you started. And it all begins with yes. Not a perfect one. Not a loud one. Just a real one. Just a yes that says, I'm willing to try again. So many people delay stepping into what I prepared for them because they think they have to become someone else first. But the truth is, I want to use you now right in the middle of your journey. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are chosen. All I need is your yes. And once I have that, I will move mountains for you. I will open doors you never could. I will breathe life into what looked like it was finished. I will guide your steps, one moment at a time. So if you hear my voice today, don't wait until you feel perfect. Just respond. Just say yes. I'll take care of the rest. You've given up on some things not out of bitterness but out of quiet resignation. Over time, hope wore thin, and you started to believe that maybe some parts of your life were just meant to remain unfinished, fractured, permanently damaged. You stopped reaching for restoration because it hurt too much to be let down again. You stopped praying for certain things, not because you didn't want them anymore, but because disappointment taught you to lower your expectations and call it wisdom. But I haven't forgotten those things. The dreams you buried with a sigh. The prayers you whispered and then tried to forget. The parts of your story you've mentally labeled too far gone or too broken to fix, I see them all. And I haven't turned away. I'm still standing in the ruins, ready to rebuild. I am the God who restores not just in part, not just enough to function, but in fullness. I don't do patchwork. I do complete transformations. I do the kind of work that causes others to look at your life and say, only God could have done that. But I need your permission. I won't force my way in. I wait for the invitation to touch what you've hidden under layers of coping and pretending. I know it's scary to hope again. I know what it cost you to let go. But child, what if letting go wasn't the end? What if it was a pause before a greater beginning? What if what looks like ashes is actually soil for something new, something better, something stronger than what came before? I don't need things to be perfect to start building. I create masterpieces from what the world calls a mess. I don't need you to hold every piece together. I need you to hand them over. Let me take the memories that sting, the relationships that fell apart, the dreams that slipped away, and let me breathe into them. My breath brings life where there was death. It brings warmth to what went cold. It brings color to what became gray. You've convinced yourself that protecting your heart means never hoping again, never expecting more. But protecting your heart by keeping me out only prolongs the ache. Let me in. Let me begin. Restoration doesn't always look like returning to what was. It often looks like becoming what should have always been. Sometimes I rebuild by replacing. Sometimes I restore by routing. And sometimes I redeem the very thing you thought would haunt you forever. You don't have to figure out how. You only have to give me what's left. Let me sit with you in the middle of what's undone. Let me hold you in the confusion, the regret, the fear of hoping again. I won't rush you. I won't pressure you. But I will never stop offering to begin again. What you thought was over may be the exact place where I want to begin showing you who I really am. I'm not here to remind you of what you lost. I'm here to show you what I can still do. There's no expiration date on redemption. No moment too late for me to work. I work outside of time. I work beyond logic. And I work in love. That place inside you, the one you stopped believing could ever feel whole again, that's the place I'm asking to touch today. You don't have to see the full picture. You only need to trust the one who holds the blueprint. I know how to rebuild. I've been doing it since the beginning of creation. Let me start with you. You may have stopped believing it could be whole, but I never did. I never will. You've been holding your breath, not literally, but emotionally, spiritually. There's a part of you that's been bracing for impact, always anticipating the next letdown, the next heartbreak, the next moment when something good slips through your fingers. You've been operating in survival mode, afraid to relax, afraid to trust peace when it comes, afraid that if you let your guard down for even a second, the pain will strike again. And in that space of self-protection, you stopped breathing deeply. You began inhaling cautiously, living carefully, hoping quietly. You've been walking through life with the weight of unspoken losses, dreams that felt close but never arrived, promises that seemed sure but faded without reason. Every disappointment didn't just hurt, it stole something. It taught you to expect less, to prepare for failure, to always keep your hopes just below the surface so you wouldn't have to drown in sorrow when things didn't work out. I see how much that's affected you. You smile, but something behind your eyes still flinches. You move forward, but only in small steps, just enough to appear okay. But I haven't come to keep you functioning. I've come to restore your ability to live, to feel, to believe again. I want to teach your heart how to inhale joy without fear of it being taken. How to exhale sadness without shame. How to stop flinching every time something good begins to grow. I want to show you how to hope again without the shadow of what went wrong hovering over every good thing. That fear, that tension, that constant pressure you carry in your chest, it wasn't placed there by me. That came from the world. That came from wounds. That came from trying to protect yourself in a world that didn't protect you. But my love is not like the world's love. My presence doesn't play with your emotions. I'm not building you up just to tear you down again. When I bring peace, it's not temporary. When I offer comfort, it lasts. When I touch your heart, I don't leave scars, I leave healing. You don't have to keep reliving the cycle of waiting, breaking, and rebuilding on your own. Let me teach you a different rhythm, a rhythm of rest, of trust, of breathing deeply even when the future is uncertain. You've learned how to move with caution. Now let me teach you how to move with confidence. Not confidence in circumstances, but in me, in the constancy of my love, in the reliability of my character, in the truth that I never give you something only to rip it away. I don't tease your heart. I hold it with the utmost care. The disappointments you faced were never meant to define you, and they don't get the final say. I do. And I say you are not broken beyond repair. I say you are not foolish for having believed. I say you are not weak for having trusted, even when things didn't go the way you hoped. Your faith, though battered, still matters. Your heart, though heavy, still beats with purpose. And I'm here to renew its rhythm, to lift the pressure, to release the tension, to invite you into a new kind of breathing. One that doesn't hold back. One that doesn't brace for the worst. One that receives joy fully, freely, without the constant fear of losing it. I want to make your heart light again, not carefree in a naive way, but steady in a way that comes from being anchored in me. Let me breathe into you the air of grace. Let me flood your spirit with peace that doesn't vanish under pressure. I'm not asking you to forget the pain. I'm offering to heal it. I'm not pretending the disappointment didn't matter. I'm declaring that it's not the end. Come closer. Take a deep breath. Feel my presence wrap around you like the safest place you've ever known. You're not alone in this healing. I'm with you, and I will teach your heart how to breathe again. You've been waiting for the right conditions, the right signs, the perfect moment when everything finally makes sense. You've told yourself that once the chaos calms down, once the fear quiets, once the doors align just right, then you'll move. Then you'll trust. Then you'll say yes. But my child, time has never been your answer. It has always been me. I know how tightly you've clung to the illusion that just a little more time would heal what hurts, that delay would somehow bring clarity, that pausing would protect your heart from another misstep. But what you need isn't more waiting, it's the willingness to step into what I've already prepared, even when it still feels uncertain. I work outside of your clocks and calendars. My plans are not chained to dates or limited by deadlines. You've assumed that delay equals preparation, but sometimes the delay is fear in disguise. Sometimes it's hesitation masking itself as wisdom. I see it all. I see how you talk yourself out of stepping forward, how you second-guess the nudges I give you, how you put off what your spirit already knows is right. But I'm not asking you to have every detail. I'm not requiring flawless confidence. I'm inviting you into obedience, into trust that says yes even when you don't know how the whole journey will unfold. You've asked me to align your path, and I have. What you're waiting for isn't permission, it's courage. And I have that too. I will give it freely if you're willing to ask. My timing isn't about the absence of challenge, it's about the presence of purpose. And that purpose is stirring inside you now. The ache you feel isn't restlessness, it's the pull of destiny calling your name. I've placed things inside you that will not wait forever. Seeds of promise that are ready to bloom, if you will stop pressing pause on my plan. I am not late. I am not early. I arrive exactly when the soil of your heart is ready to receive. And that soil has been softened by everything you've been through, every delay, every trial, every season of silence. All of it was preparing you to respond now, not later. I don't work in random. I work in rhythm. And my rhythm is asking you to take a step, not a leap into the unknown, but a simple step into alignment. You've been praying for direction. This is it. You've been asking for confirmation. Here I am. Still speaking. Still leading. Still opening the door that fear has tried to keep shut. You've said, I'm not ready, but readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. I've called imperfect people to do eternal things, not because they were qualified, but because they were willing. You don't need to wait for more signs. I am your sign. I am the one who sees the end from the beginning. And I'm telling you, now is the time. Not tomorrow, not next year, not after everything looks perfect. Right now. I know it's uncomfortable. I know your heart races with the thought of risking again. But faith was never about safety, it was always about surrender. And surrender doesn't require you to know, it just requires you to go. You'll find your clarity in the walking. You'll find your peace in the moving. I'll meet you in every step, providing what you need the moment you need it. I've gone before you. I'll walk beside you. I'll follow behind you, covering every gap with grace. The time is not later. It's now. My timing is perfect, and this moment is holy. Don't delay your breakthrough another day. Don't silence your yes with more excuses. I am moving, and I want to move with you. Take my hand. Let's begin. You've been keeping score of everything that slipped through your hands, opportunities that vanished, relationships that ended without closure, seasons that changed too soon, and moments that never turned out the way you hoped. I see how you replay them in your mind, trying to find where it went wrong, wondering if you missed something or if you were the reason it didn't last. You've become so focused on what didn't happen, what was taken, what ended, that you've forgotten to look at what's still possible with me. Loss has tried to define you, but I never let it write your story. I don't build your identity on what's been removed, I build it on what's about to return in greater measure. You're not standing in defeat. You're standing in the space where restoration begins. The world told you that when something is gone, it's over. But I operate on a different law. With me, nothing is truly lost that I intend to redeem. You haven't seen the full circle yet. You've only experienced the tension between what was and what will be. But don't confuse the in-between for the end. I know how to bring beauty from ashes in ways that don't just heal the wound, but make it the very place my glory shines brightest. I'm not going to give you back exactly what you lost. I'm going to give you something better, something fuller, something crafted not by the hands of the world, but by the hands of heaven. But to receive it, you need to stop letting your loss determine your limit. Your past disappointments do not cap my ability to bless you. Your setbacks do not intimidate my power to advance you. What you thought was the end of the story was merely the turning of the page. Let me speak this clearly. Your best is not behind you. You have not peaked. You have not missed your one chance. You have not failed too deeply for me to redeem what was stolen. I am the author of restoration, not partial, but complete. Not delayed out of punishment, but timed perfectly for impact. What you sowed in tears, I will return in joy. What you gave away in love, I will multiply back into your life in forms you wouldn't expect but will recognize instantly as my fingerprint. I'm going to restore your confidence, not the prideful kind, but the deep-rooted assurance that you are still chosen, still purposed, still capable of joy that isn't fragile. You've been waiting for signs that things are shifting, but you are the sign. Your resilience, your refusal to quit, your willingness to still believe in me, that's what opens the floodgates. The enemy tried to convince you that the chapter you closed was the end of all that was good. But I never stopped writing. I've been preparing a return that doesn't mirror the past, but far exceeds it. And when it comes, it won't just replace what was lost, it will redeem the time you spent grieving. Nothing has been wasted. Every tear, every prayer, every silent night of questioning will be wrapped into the miracle I'm forming in the background. I know how much it hurt to lose what you thought was forever. I know how disoriented you felt when everything shifted without warning. But I haven't forgotten. And I didn't leave you in the wreckage. I stayed quietly mending what you couldn't see, preparing what you wouldn't believe. So don't measure your life by what's no longer in it. Measure it by the one who holds what's ahead. Measure it by the size of my love, not by the depth of your pain. Measure it by the truth that I restore better than before. I rebuild stronger, and the original. And I bring back more than what was taken. Stand up again, not because it doesn't hurt, but because I'm about to pour out something that makes the waiting worth it. You are not forgotten. You are not empty. You are not disqualified by what you've lost. You are positioned right here, right now, for me to show you that what's coming will not just heal your heart. It will remind you who I've always been, the God who gives back more than was taken. You've been moving fast, not always physically, but internally, rushing through emotions, dodging memories, shifting from thought to thought, hoping if you stay busy enough, the pain won't catch up. You've worn yourself thin trying to escape what you're afraid to confront. You've told yourself you're over it, that you're strong, that you've made peace with things you never truly faced. But deep within, there's still a part of you running from grief you never voiced, from wounds you never tended, from questions you buried beneath distraction and denial. But healing doesn't chase after you. Healing waits for you to stop. It waits for the moment you collapse into stillness and whisper the words you've been avoiding. I can't do this alone. You weren't meant to outrun your pain. You were meant to bring it to me. But that requires surrender, the kind of surrender that isn't glamorous, the kind that feels like giving up but is actually the beginning of being made whole. I know why you're afraid to stop. Slowing down means feeling, and feeling means reopening what you worked so hard to seal shut. But I'm not afraid of what's inside. I'm not shocked by your bitterness or surprised by your questions. I already know what's there, and I'm not stepping away, I'm stepping in. You don't need to have eloquent prayers or a grand gesture. You just need to be honest. That honesty, that trembling, fragile openness is all I need to start restoring what's been fractured inside. You think surrender looks like failure, but with me, surrender is strength. It's when you admit you've come to the end of yourself and finally invite me to take over. And when I take over, I don't just soothe the surface. I go to the core. I reach into the places you forgot existed. I speak life into areas that have been numb for years. You've tried to heal through control, through avoidance, through willpower, through pretending you were fine. But healing that lasts doesn't come through resistance, it comes through release. When you let go of what you're clutching, when you stop rehearsing how to stay protected, that's when I begin to pour in what the world could never give. You don't have to fear what surrender will cost you. What I give in return is far greater than what you will lay down. You may think you're giving up your safety, your defense, your structure, but you're actually gaining peace, restoration, and joy that doesn't disappear under pressure. Surrender isn't me taking something from you. It's me freeing you from what's been weighing you down all along. You've carried responsibilities that weren't yours. You've built walls thinking they'd protect you, but all they've done is isolate you. I didn't design you to live behind barricades. I designed you for intimacy with me, with truth, with life that flows freely again. I won't force my way into the locked places. I'll wait for you to open them. I'll wait for the moment you're ready to admit that strength isn't found in holding it all together, it's found in handing it over to me. And when you do, I promise, you won't collapse into nothing. You'll fall into arms that have been waiting, arms that won't let go, arms that know how to cradle the pieces and gently begin again. Surrender doesn't mean you failed. It means you finally found the one who can carry what you can't. So if you're tired of running, if you're exhausted from pretending, if your soul is aching for something real, come sit with me. You don't need a plan. You don't need to explain. You just need to be still. And let me do what only I can do. This healing isn't out of reach. It's already here waiting on your yes. Not a loud yes. Just a willing one. Lay it down, beloved. The running ends here. The healing begins now. You've been gathering pieces for years now, pieces of your heart, your past, your trust, your identity. Some were shattered by circumstances out of your control, others by decisions you regret, and a few by people you thought would stay. You've held these fragments close, unsure what to do with them, hoping somehow you'd figure out how to make yourself whole again. But wholeness doesn't come from simply collecting the parts. It comes from placing them in the hands of someone who knows where they belong. That someone is me. I've watched you cradle your brokenness like a sacred secret, afraid to let anyone else see how damaged you feel. But nothing about your brokenness scares me. I've never looked at you and seen a project, I've always seen a masterpiece in progress. Not because you have it all together, but because I do. You've tried to fit pieces into places they were never meant to go, relationships that didn't align with your purpose, choices that numbed the pain instead of healing it, Goals that gave you something to chase but left you empty when you reached them. You've tried fixing yourself by hiding the mess, by staying busy, by avoiding stillness, because in the stillness you hear the quiet reminder that something inside is still undone. But my child, your healing doesn't come from doing more. It comes from handing me the pieces you've hidden, even the ones you've convinced yourself don't matter anymore. I want all of them. The ones that make you cry. The ones that still ache when someone mentions them. The ones you're ashamed of. Even the ones you think I'd be disappointed by. There is no piece too jagged for my hands. No memory too dark for my light. No mistake too big for my mercy. I created you with intention. Every part of who you are was formed with care. And what was broken along the way hasn't erased the design. I still see the whole picture. You may see ruins. I see a frame. You may feel like a scattered mess. I see potential waiting to be reborn. When I look at your life, I don't focus on what's missing, I focus on what I'm about to restore. You don't have to explain how the pieces got broken. You just have to trust that I know how to handle them. You won't scare me away by showing me your worst. In fact, it's often through your most shattered parts that I build the most beautiful things. You've been wondering if healing is even possible. You've asked quietly in your heart if this is just the way it has to be now, half full, half healed, half alive. But I came so you could have life to the full. Not a life where you manage your pain, but one where you walk free of it. That freedom starts when you stop trying to fix yourself and start letting me shape you. This won't be a quick fix, but it will be a complete one. I take my time because what I'm building is eternal. I'm not just patching wounds, I'm rewriting identity. I'm not just soothing pain, I'm establishing purpose. And I'm not asking you to understand the process. I'm asking you to trust the one who sees the completed picture from the very beginning. Let me be your restorer. Let me show you how much beauty still exists in what you thought was ruined. You're not too far gone. You're not beyond repair. You are loved in your current condition, not for what you can become, but for who you are already. So bring me the pieces. Lay them down without fear. I will not reject you. I will not scold you. I will not rush you. I will receive every fragment and gently begin to put you back together, not into what you were, but into something stronger, deeper, more radiant than before. I see it already. I see the final masterpiece. And I promise, it's worth the process. There's been so much noise around you lately, hasn't there? So many voices pulling at your attention, so many paths offering promises they can't keep, so many moments where confusion masked itself as opportunity. You've stood at crossroads more times than you can count, unsure which way to go, hoping that somehow, if you just did enough, tried enough, or waited long enough, the way would make itself clear. But clarity doesn't always come through effort, it comes through presence. And I am the presence you need. I'm not trying to overwhelm you with options. I'm trying to lead you gently with peace. When the world spins loud and fast, I offer a slower, steadier voice, one that guides rather than pressures, that assures rather than demands. You were never meant to navigate these valleys alone, trying to read every sign, interpret every shadow, and guess your way toward peace. That's why I called myself the shepherd, because I never intended for you to take a single step without me. You've been searching for direction through logic, through others' opinions, through signs in the wind, but have you stilled yourself long enough to hear my whisper? I don't lead by confusion. I don't throw you into chaos and leave you to figure it out. I walk in front of you, alongside you, and sometimes behind you when you're too weak to move. I circle around your life like a faithful protector, never once turning my face away when things get messy. You've tried to move forward while carrying distractions that don't belong in your hands. Worry has distracted you. So has comparison. Fear, disguised as caution, has clouded your vision. But I'm clearing the path now, not by showing you every step ahead, but by reminding you who is walking it with you. The safest place to be isn't the place where all the answers are obvious, it's the place where you're close to me. I see you trying to make the best decision. I see you analyzing every possibility, afraid of making the wrong move, scared of wasting time or misreading my will. But let me tell you this. If your heart is yielded, if you're truly seeking me, I won't let you get lost. You may take turns that surprise you. You may walk through places that feel unfamiliar, but you will not be abandoned. I'm not watching from a distance, waiting to correct you if you stumble. I'm holding your hand, guiding your spirit, gently nudging you toward everything I've prepared. My guidance doesn't always come with flashing signs, it often comes with stillness, with quiet assurance, with peace that doesn't make sense to the mind but speaks directly to the heart. You've mistaken movement for progress, but sometimes progress is trusting me enough to pause, to let go of what's not essential, to tune out what's only noise. I want to teach you how to follow me without the need for constant proof. I want you to walk with me like a sheep, trusts its shepherd not because the journey is familiar, but because the voice is. And I promise, the more you listen for me, the more unmistakable my direction becomes. You don't need more motivation. You need my voice. You don't need to figure everything out today. You need to trust that I've already walked the road ahead, and I know exactly where to lead your next step. Let me lead you out of the fog. Let me help you let go of the weight that doesn't belong to you. Let me walk you through the valleys where you've only seen shadows, and show you that even here, especially here, I am guiding you. I don't need you to run. I don't need you to force clarity. I only need you to follow. I am your direction. Not a man. Not a checklist. Not a schedule. Me. Your shepherd. Your steady, faithful guide who will never, ever leave your side. You've been walking around certain things in your life, carefully avoiding the places that feel too uncertain, too risky, too raw. You've made silent agreements in your heart. Not that conversation, not that memory, not that step, not that place again. You've convinced yourself it's wisdom, self-protection, or good timing. But deep down, you know the truth, it's fear dressed as logic. And I'm not here to condemn that fear. I understand it. I see why you built those walls. I know what happened last time you opened that door. I was there when it hurt. I was there when the tears didn't stop, when the outcome wasn't what you hoped. But I also see what's waiting behind the very thing you've been avoiding. There is something sacred on the other side of your surrender, something holy waiting to unfold, not in spite of what you fear, but through it. You've been praying for a breakthrough, asking me to move, to shift, to change the situation. But what if the shift you're waiting for requires you to turn toward what you've been running from? I never called you to go backward, but I did call you to walk through. I am not the God of avoidance, I am the God of redemption. I don't lead you around hard things. I walk you straight through them, because on the other side of those hard things is glory you can't yet imagine. The thing you keep stepping around, that one decision you keep postponing, that one truth you keep bearing, it may be the exact place where I'm waiting to meet you in power. You think you'll lose something if you face it. I know you'll gain more than you ever thought possible. I've seen how much energy it takes to stay one step ahead of your own pain. I've watched you create detours, delay healing, and distract yourself with other good things, hoping you'll never have to confront the deeper ache. But healing doesn't always come in comfort. Miracles don't always arrive in calm places. Sometimes, the path to resurrection leads right through the graveyard of what you buried. And I am not afraid to walk you there. I am not asking you to be strong. I am asking you to be willing to take one step toward the thing that scares you, knowing I'll meet you in that place with grace enough to hold you and power enough to carry you through. I know you've wondered, why can't God just fix it another way? But you see, I'm not just trying to fix what's broken, I'm trying to restore what you lost in the process. That kind of restoration isn't shallow. It reaches into the root. It touches what's hidden. It heals what has been limping in secret. And yes, that may require you to feel again. But what you feel, I will not waste. Every tear will water new growth. Every moment of courage will echo into eternity. Every step toward what you've avoided will open a door that's been locked for too long. Don't let fear trick you into forfeiting what's already yours. Don't let the enemy convince you that safety is found in silence. You weren't created to tiptoe around your purpose. You were created to walk boldly into it, even if your voice trembles, even if your knees shake, even if your heart pounds. I'll be right there. Not pushing you, not demanding you, but inviting you. Because I love you too much to let you keep living a half-life while full healing waits in the room you won't enter. I won't force you. I never will. But I will keep calling because your miracle is still waiting where you last said no. And when you're ready, even a whisper of yes will unlock what you thought was no longer possible. Yearn toward it, child. Not alone, never alone. Turn toward it with me. You've held on tightly, sometimes without realizing it, to memories, expectations, and outcomes that were never meant to define the rest of your life. Some of those things once brought you joy, some brought you pain, and others were simply chapters that were never meant to last forever. But because they are familiar, you've gripped them like lifelines, convinced that if you release them, you'll lose a piece of yourself. But beloved, I want to remind you, your identity is not found in what's behind you. It's found in me, and I'm standing in front of you, not behind. You've been asking for change, praying for fresh direction, waiting for a new beginning. But your hands are still full of yesterday, and I will never force you to drop what you're not ready to release. I will only gently show you that what you're gripping may be the very thing blocking what I'm trying to place in your life now. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is trust. It's saying, I believe you still have more for me. I believe what's ahead can be better than what's gone. It's acknowledging that the things you once needed to survive aren't the same things that will help you thrive. I know the memories that sting when you revisit them. I know the plans you built with your whole heart, only to watch them collapse. I know the people you thought would walk with you forever, who left without warning. I was there. I wept with you. I never minimized your pain. But now I'm calling you gently forward, not because what happened wasn't significant, but because it's not your ending. There are things I've prepared that require space, peace that needs room to settle, opportunities that need your full attention, healing that requires open hands and a willing heart. You cannot fully receive while clinging to what I've already asked you to place at my feet. And yes, I understand it's not easy. Releasing something doesn't happen overnight. That's why I walk with you through every moment of loosening your grip. That's why I whisper truth when fear tells you to hold on tighter. That's why I offer my hand every time you feel you're not ready to surrender what has become familiar. You've been trying to balance both what was and what could be, and it's exhausting you. You're carrying things I never asked you to carry into places I've never intended you to take them. My blessings don't thrive in cluttered places. My voice doesn't shout over the noise of nostalgia. I move best in open spaces. And I want your life to be a space where freedom breathes again, where possibility takes root again, where joy flows again, not in flashes, but as your constant rhythm. But that begins with your willingness to unclench your fists and say, I trust you more than I trust my past. Even if you don't feel ready, say it. Even if your heart trembles, let the words come. I don't ask for perfection, I ask for surrender. I don't need you to feel fearless. I need you to believe I'm still good. Good enough to fill what feels empty. Strong enough to carry what you can't. Loving enough to replace what was lost with something even more beautiful. I am the God who restores. But restoration begins where release starts. Your miracle is not in the past. Your breakthrough isn't back where you came from. It's ahead, just beyond the moment you choose to trust me with what you thought you had to keep. To loosen your grip, my child. You're not falling, you're being freed. And as you open your hands, I'll fill them with something new. Not just different, but better. Not just temporary, but lasting. Not just comforting, but glorious. You carried enough. Let me carry you now into what's next. I promise, you won't regret what you give me. You'll only wonder why you waited so long to let it go. There's something stirring inside you right now that words can't fully explain. A quiet knowing, a deep awareness that what you're hearing is more than human encouragement. It's personal. It's precise. It's speaking directly to a place inside you that has been overlooked, dismissed, or untouched for a long time. This moment, this very second, is not a coincidence. You didn't stumble into these words by accident. It's not random, and it's not your imagination. This is me. This is your Creator drawing near, cutting through the noise of your life, reaching into the part of you that's been aching to be seen, to be known, to be reminded that you are not alone. You may have scrolled through countless messages today, but this one stopped you for a reason. Because I've been calling you, gently, quietly but intentionally, and now you're hearing me clearly. The stirring inside isn't confusion. It's confirmation. You've asked me so many times, Lord, is that you? And here I am, showing you again that yes, it's me. You've been seeking me in signs, in silence, in moments you hoped would reveal more than just ordinary patterns. And in this very moment, your heart leapt because something inside recognized the sound of truth, not just any truth, but eternal truth wrapped in love. You're not just being encouraged. You're being pursued. I know exactly where you are. I know what your soul has been whispering when no one is around. And I've come to meet you there. This is more than just an emotional connection. It's a spirit speaking to spirit. My spirit to yours. And when I speak, something awakens in you that no earthly voice can stir. That's why you can feel this so deeply. That's why your heart is tender right now, why your eyes may be watering, or your breath feels like it's catching in your chest. That's the reality of divine presence, not loud, but unmistakably real. You've been asking for a sign. Here it is, not flashing lights or dramatic events, but my voice, steady and sure, confirming that you are seen, chosen, and called. There have been times when you've doubted if you can still hear me. Life has been loud. Pain has been distracting. Busyness has dulled your senses. But I never stopped speaking. I was just waiting for the moment you would lean in again, beyond the surface, beyond the pressure, beyond the routine. You've been surrounded by opinions, advice, noise, and in the midst of it all, you were silently hoping that somehow I would break through. This is that breakthrough. Right here, right now. The pull you feel in your spirit is not emotion. It's me realigning your heart with mine. Don't let doubt steal this moment from you. Don't let the enemy convince you this is coincidence. You prayed for connection. You've longed for a message that felt like it was meant for you alone. This is it. Not because the words are perfect, but because I've tailored them through my spirit to reach you where you need it most. And the fact that you're still reading is proof that your heart is open, whether you realize it or not. Even if your mind has questions, your spirit already knows. And that knowing, that inner recognition, is what I'm responding to. I'm not asking for grand expressions or instant transformation. I'm simply asking you to acknowledge what you're sensing. Let that recognition be the doorway to deeper intimacy with me. Let it remind you that I've never been far. That every time you thought I was silent, I was simply waiting for you to pause long enough to hear me. And now that you are, I want to go further. I want to continue this conversation, not for a moment, but for a lifetime. You're not imagining this. You're encountering me. Stay here. Stay with me. I've only just begun. You've been existing in a rhythm that looks like living, but deep down, you know it's not. You've been going through the motions, doing what's necessary, saying what's expected, functioning well enough to get by, but something inside has remained untouched, unfulfilled. It's not that you've been doing anything wrong. It's that you were created for more than just getting through each day. You were made for meaning, for movement that flows from identity, not obligation. And now, your soul is beginning to feel the weight of that divine longing again. That restlessness you feel isn't failure. It's awakening. I've been gently stirring the waters within you, not to frustrate you, but to show you that you were not made to settle. You were designed for purpose, and the ache you feel is a signal. It's me, calling you to rise. You survived so much, more than most will ever know. There were moments you didn't think you'd make it, days when you quietly whispered for strength just to keep breathing, seasons when you were convinced that this was all life could offer. But I held you through those dark places. I carried you when your faith felt like a flicker. And now that you're standing on the other side of that survival, I'm not calling you to simply maintain. I'm calling you to build, to expand, to step into the reason you were created. You're not here by chance. Every gift you carry, every scar you bear, every tear you've cried, it's all part of a larger design. And I'm not finished revealing that design to you. You may have believed that your purpose would arrive in a loud, dramatic moment. But purpose doesn't always begin with a spotlight, it often begins with a whisper. And that whisper is already speaking to your heart. It's the subtle prompting that says, there's more. It's the nudge that draws you toward things you can't explain. It's the thought that keeps returning, the passion that won't die, the idea that refuses to fade. That's me planting vision in your soul. That's my spirit breathing on the embers of your calling. You've been living in a fog, but I'm clearing it now. Not with pressure, but with clarity. Not with noise, but with precision. You were not meant to simply manage life, you were made to change it, to carry my love into places only you can reach. You don't need a platform to fulfill your purpose. You don't need applause to validate your worth. All you need is obedience. All you need is willingness. I will take your yes and do with it what you never imagined possible. But first, I need you to stop shrinking back into the safety of surviving. You've already proven your resilience. Now it's time to walk in vision. Time to dream again. Time to see beyond what is and start believing for what can be. You won't walk this road alone. I will equip you for every step. I will bring the right people, open the right doors, provide the strength you need, not all at once, but exactly when it matters most. Your purpose isn't a mystery I'm hiding from you. It's a journey I'm walking with you. And every time you lean in to hear me, every time you step forward in trust, that purpose unfolds a little more. Stop measuring yourself by what you haven't done yet. Start looking at what I'm igniting in you now. The stirring you feel isn't restlessness, it's resurrection. I'm waking up what's been sleeping. I'm reviving what's been buried. I'm speaking to the parts of you that still remember who you are, even when the world made you forget. So listen closely, my child. You've survived, yes. But now, it's time to live. Not just exist, not just function, but truly live, led by my spirit, filled with my power, marked by my grace. The stirring won't stop because I'm not done speaking. And if you'll follow me, I'll take you from wandering into walking, from questions into calling, from pain into purpose. It starts now. You've spent so much of your life moving, sometimes forward, sometimes backward, often just in circles. Running from things you didn't know how to face. Running from moments that felt too heavy, from memories that burned too deep, from expectations you couldn't carry. But you weren't only running from the world. Sometimes, without meaning to, you ran from me too. Not because you didn't love me, but because you weren't sure what I would say if you stopped long enough to listen. You imagined I was angry. You thought I was disappointed. You believed that by now, I must have grown tired of waiting. But I want you to hear this clearly. I haven't been chasing you to punish you. I've been calling you back because my love for you has never wavered, not once. I don't hunt you down with condemnation. I don't stand in your path demanding that you fix yourself before you come near. I walk behind you patiently, lovingly, whispering truth over the lies that told you you're too far gone, too flawed, too inconsistent. I'm not after performance. I'm after your heart. Not the version of your heart you've polished up to look acceptable, but the raw, worn out, real one. The one you've tried to protect with walls and silence. The one that's tired of pretending, tired of trying, tired of running. That's the heart I'm calling home. You don't need to be afraid of what I'll say when you finally stop. I won't scold you for the distance. I won't shame you for the detours. I'll simply open my arms, like I've always done, and let you walk into the place where you belong. and remind you that you were never alone on the road. Every step you took thinking you were alone, I was there. Every time you fell and thought no one saw, I saw, and I wept with you. Not because I was angry, but because I love you too deeply to watch you suffer in silence. You've been carrying a weight that was never yours to bear. The burden of feeling like you must outrun your failures. The burden of assuming that my acceptance is something you must earn back. But you never lost it. You never lost me. I've always known your pace. I've always understood your struggle. And I've never left your side, not for a moment. You've taken long paths, wandered through wilderness seasons, and drifted through fog, but I never gave up on the destination I set for your life. You've been moving, but I want to give you rest. Not just rest for your body, but rest for your soul. The kind of peace that comes when you realize you no longer have to fight for love, no longer have to perform for acceptance, no longer have to wear yourself out trying to find what I've already placed within reach. Come closer, not because you're perfect, but because you're wanted. I want you in every condition, when you're strong, when you're weak, when you're filled with faith, and even when you're full of doubt. I don't expect you to get it all right. I just want your heart turned toward me again. I want your eyes lifted, your shoulders lowered, your breath steady. You don't need to fear my voice. I'm not calling you into punishment. I'm calling you into restoration, into comfort, into life that doesn't depend on your strength but flows from mine. So stop running. Not because you've reached the end, but because you finally realized you don't have to run anymore. My love isn't chasing you to trap you, it's pursuing you to embrace you. Let me catch you, not to hold you down, but to hold you close. The running is over. Return is here. And I promise, what greets you when you come back isn't wrath, it's warmth. It's a welcome home. It's me. You've looked at your life through the lens of what hurt you and assumed that it made you unworthy of anything holy. You've carried your pain like a scarlet letter, quietly, heavily, and often with shame, believing that the moments that broke you somehow placed you on the outside of my plans. You've seen others move forward, seemingly untouched, and wondered why your road has been so marked by hardship. But let me tell you something the world never will. Your pain is not your disqualification, it is your invitation. It is the very place where my voice echoes the loudest, not because you suffered, but because in that suffering, your heart was made tender to me in a way nothing else could have done. I don't look at you and see someone stained. I look at you and see someone ready to receive what those who have never been broken might still resist. I see a heart that knows what it is to cry when no one is watching, to hold your breath through the ache, to show up for others while silently wondering who will show up for you. That depth, that reality, that softness in your spirit, it's what allows you to hear me now. If you had never been wounded, you might never have opened yourself to something greater than yourself. What you did, even when it hurt, even when you doubted, you left the door cracked open for me. And I've come through it not to remind you of your hurt, but to transform it. You've asked why I didn't stop it, why I didn't intervene sooner. I heard you in those moments. I felt the weight of your questions, the sting of your confusion. And no, I didn't cause that pain. But I was present in it. I was weaving redemption into it even when all you could feel was the tearing. Pain in this world is real, and I do not minimize it. But in my hands, pain is never wasted. I gather every tear, every cry, every silence where words failed, and I build from it something the enemy never saw coming. The very things he tried to use to destroy you, I now use to draw you closer. I chose this moment because I know what you've been through. Not just the events, but the effects. The emotional echo that still speaks into your present. The fear of being disappointed again. The anxiety that creeps in when something good starts to happen. The numbness that comes from waiting too long for change. I see it all. And I want you to know, I chose you with full knowledge of your pain. You are not a second choice. You are not a last resort. You are not broken beyond usefulness. You are the one I'm calling, not in spite of your pain but because of how it softened the soil of your heart for me to sow something new. Others may look at you and see someone who needs fixing. I look at you and see someone I can trust with purpose. Not because you've been perfect, but because you've been through the fire and still kept some part of your soul open to me. And that's all I need: a crack in the wall, a flicker of willingness, a whisper of surrender. You don't need to have the answers. You don't need to explain the pain away. You only need to place it in my hands and let me speak life into what once felt like the end of your story. What happened to you didn't remove you from my plan. It positioned you to hear me more clearly now. And what the enemy used to try to bury you, I will now use to raise you. You're not too wounded to be used. You're not too damaged to be called. You're not too broken to carry light. In fact, those cracks that history is what allows my light to shine through you more beautifully than before. So hear me now. I chose to speak to you today because of that pain, not to revisit it, but to redeem it. You've suffered long enough. Now let me show you what it means to live again, not in spite of the pain, but because through it, I brought you here into this holy, healing moment with me. You've been so persistent, so faithful in your efforts, pressing forward even when it felt like nothing was changing. I've watched you pray, knock, push, and cry, wondering why certain things haven't moved. You've walked down hallway after hallway in search of an opening, thinking that maybe if you tried harder or waited longer, something would finally shift. And still, some doors remained firmly shut, no matter how sincere your heart was or how desperately you wanted them to open. But listen closely, my child. I never ask you to force doors open. I never ask you to chase after things I've already said no to. I've been preparing a door just for you, not hidden, not out of reach, but in a place of surrender, not striving. And the moment you stop exhausting yourself trying to unlock what was never yours, you'll discover the breakthrough that's already waiting. You see, not every closed door is a rejection. Sometimes it's a redirection. Sometimes it's me protecting you from what you can't yet see. I don't close doors to punish you, I close them to preserve the purpose I've placed inside of you. That person you prayed would stay. That opportunity you thought was everything. That path you begged me to bless. I know it felt like loss when it didn't work out. But what you call failure, I often call favor. Because I'm not looking at just the next step. I'm looking at the entire journey. And I know where each road leads. I know what blessings would become burdens. I know what paths would slowly pull you away from me, even if they looked promising on the surface. So when you see a door that won't budge, don't let it convince you I've gone silent. Let it remind you I'm guiding you more closely than ever. Breakthrough doesn't come from forcing your way forward. It comes from aligning with my will. From stepping where I step, not just where you feel pressure to go. There's a door already unlocked, already open, one where my peace surrounds the threshold, one where joy flows freely through the frame, one where you don't have to push, only follow. But to find it, you have to take your hands off the ones you keep rattling out of habit, or fear, or impatience. You have to stop measuring your value by how many things go your way, and start trusting that my way is better even when it confuses you at first. I want to give you more than just access. I want to give you assurance. Assurance that you're not lost. Assurance that I'm not withholding anything good from you. Assurance that your delay has never meant denial. It has only meant that I was positioning you for the right moment, one that doesn't require striving, one that doesn't drain you, one that comes with confirmation, not confusion. I know what you've prayed for. I know how long you've waited. But there is a difference between good and best. And what I have for you is not just good, it's perfectly timed, perfectly designed, perfectly protected. But you'll only walk into it when you stop chasing every option and start waiting for my voice. You don't have to beg for what I've already set aside for you. You don't have to plead for access when I've already given you authority to step into what's yours. The key isn't in doing more. The key is in listening and leaning into me and letting go of timelines you created and embracing the path I've prepared. I don't lead you into dead ends. I lead you into open spaces. and that breakthrough you need, it's not in the noise. It's in the quiet moment where you say, Lord, not my door, but yours. So stop knocking where you don't belong. Turn your heart toward me. I will show you the opening. I will lead you to the place where everything changes. And when you step through, you'll understand why every delay, every denial, and every detour was part of a divine setup for something so much greater than what you were chasing. The door is open. The invitation is real. Are you ready to walk through? You've asked me silently, over and over again, Lord, is this really you? You've questioned whether the stirring you feel, the words that find you at just the right time, the quiet pull inside your chest, could it really be me? And I say to you now, clearly and without hesitation, yes, it is. I am not distant. I am not vague. I am not sending random signs, hoping you'll guess your way into clarity. I'm speaking to you directly right here, right now, because I know how much your heart has longed to hear something undeniable. I know how you've cried out for reassurance, how you've asked me to confirm that you're not imagining this, that you're not being naive to believe something bigger is at work. You're not. That deep knowing inside you, that sudden stillness, that quiet peace that doesn't make sense. It's me. You don't need to keep looking for signs in the clouds or waiting for someone else to confirm what I've already whispered to your heart. I don't play guessing games with those I love. I reveal truth in a way that settles deep into your soul, not through chaos, but through a clarity that silences everything else. You've heard so many voices lately, some encouraging, others confusing. You've been pulled between opinion and emotion, logic and longing. But none of those voices carry the weight of my presence. Mine is different. When I speak, even the storms in your mind begin to slow. Even the questions lose their grip. Even if I don't answer everything at once, my voice leaves behind a peace that lingers. That's how you'll know it's me. It anchors you, not overwhelms you. I know how deeply you've needed this moment, not a vague hope, but a real encounter. And I'm meeting you here not because you demanded it, but because you asked for it in faith. Even the smallest seed of belief is enough for me to respond. I see your heart posture. I see your hesitation blended with hope. And I want you to know, I'm not offended by your need for confirmation. I delight in revealing myself to those who seek me. I'm not hiding. I'm here. I'm showing up in a way that your spirit recognizes, even if your mind can't fully explain it. You don't need to overanalyze this. Just receive it. You've walked through seasons where silence stretched longer than you expected. Times when you begged me for direction and heard nothing in return. And now that I'm speaking clearly, your heart doesn't know if it's safe to trust it. But I haven't changed. I've been near through it all. And just because I was quiet then doesn't mean I wasn't working. Sometimes I let the silence grow deep so that when my voice comes, you know without a doubt it's mine. You're hearing me now because your heart has been made ready. I've been softening the soil. And now the seed I've been preparing is ready to take root. Don't second-guess this moment. You don't need a louder sign. You just need to say yes. I am confirming what you suspected but were afraid to believe, that I've been walking with you every step, orchestrating details you didn't notice, and arranging encounters like this one so that your faith could stretch just enough to grab hold of what I'm offering. This isn't coincidence. This is a collision between your deepest need and my intentional love. And now that you know it's me, I want you to rest in that assurance. Not to rush forward in panic, but to stand confidently in the knowledge that your next steps will be guided not by doubt, but by presence. You've wanted to know if you're on the right path. You've wanted to know if what you're hearing is real. You've wanted to know if I still speak like this. I do. And I am. Right now. Do you? I'm not leaving this moment without making it plain. I am here. I am speaking. And this is your confirmation. There's a voice that's been following you for years. It didn't start out loud, but it's grown in volume, whispering its doubts until they echoed so often, you started believing them. that you're too inconsistent, too messy, too late, that you miss your moment, that you're not good enough, strong enough, spiritual enough, smart enough. And you've carried those thoughts like facts, adjusting your steps, lowering your expectations, keeping your heart quiet in rooms where I designed you to speak. But today I'm silencing those lies, not with noise but with truth, with my truth. Because what I see when I look at you isn't weakness. I see resilience. I see someone I made with care, with depth, with purpose. And I believe in what I created. You spent so much time trying to prove your worth, maybe not to me, but to yourself and to others. You strived to earn validation from voices that can never fully understand your story. You've measured your success by the approval of people who can't see what I've hidden within you. But I've never based your value on performance. I've never waited for perfection to call you mine. From the very beginning, I looked at you and saw someone I wanted, yes, you. With all your uncertainties and flaws, with all your strengths and gifts. I never hesitated to choose you. I never second-guessed your design. I called you enough before you even took your first breath. When I formed you, I didn't make a mistake. I didn't create you to spend your life apologizing for your existence. I created you to walk with confidence, not arrogance, but the kind of quiet strength that comes from knowing you are held by someone who never wavers. The world may point out your flaws, but I point out your future. The world may highlight your failures, but I highlight your faith. Every step you've taken, even the ones you regret, I've seen them. And I've woven them into something redemptive. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. The lies you've believed are breaking now, not because you finally figured out how to fight them, but because I'm stepping in with truth. I don't just want to speak over your life. I want to speak within it, into the deepest parts, into the places where insecurity built walls around your potential, into the quiet corners where fear still whispers that it's safer to stay hidden than to rise. But I didn't create you to shrink. I created you to shine. Not to impress, but to illuminate. To carry light into places where others have gone dim. That's why the enemy has worked so hard to convince you that you're nothing special. Because he knows what I've placed inside you. And he fears what will happen when you start to believe it too. Let my voice be louder now. Let it wash over the memories of rejection, of silence, of being overlooked. Let it remind you of every time I was there, even when you didn't feel me, cheering for you, covering you, lifting you when you didn't know why you hadn't given up yet. That strength, that was me. That breath in your lungs when you felt like giving up, that was me too. And now I'm here again, not to lecture you but to remind you of who you are, of who I've always known you could be, and of who you are becoming, not through effort, but through surrender. You don't need to keep proving your value. It was never in question. My belief in you is unshakable, not because of what you do, but because of who you are to me. You are chosen. You are seen. You are needed. And my belief in you is stronger than every lie you've believed. Let it change the way you walk. Let it change the way you see yourself. You are not lacking. You are not too late. You are enough because I said so. And I do not change my mind. There's been a pause in your spirit, like you've been standing at the edge of something you can feel but can't quite explain. You've been waiting, not because you're unwilling to move, but because you've been looking for a voice to give you permission. You've wanted someone to affirm what you carry, to notice what you're capable of, to recognize what's been growing quietly inside your heart for so long. But in that waiting, you've let their silence plant out in soil where I've already spoken identity. You've let the absence of affirmation convince you that maybe your gift isn't real, your calling isn't clear, or your purpose isn't important. But I need you to hear me now, without hesitation, without second guessing. I already confirmed you. I already anointed you. I already appointed you. And what I spoke over you doesn't need anyone else's endorsement to be true. You don't have to delay your obedience while waiting for applause. You don't need permission to be who I created you to be. The world teaches you to wait until you're celebrated to act, but my kingdom moves on faith, not fame. I whispered things to your spirit that no one else was meant to hear. I showed you glimpses of your future not so others could validate it, but so you could start walking with me in quiet trust. You've wondered why no one noticed the fire burning inside of you, why no one echoed what you've known deep down. But that fire didn't come from them. It came from me. And if I'm the one who lit it, no one else has the authority to define its worth. I see how you've dimmed yourself to fit in rooms too small for your calling, how you've downplayed your voice because others weren't ready to hear it, how you've shrunk your dreams because the ones around you couldn't see what I planted. But I didn't give you vision so you could hide it. I gave it to you so it could lead you forward step by step, even when it feels lonely. And I know that loneliness. I know the ache of walking a path no one else understands. But I walk it with you. Every step, I've been beside you, reminding you, affirming you, strengthening the parts of you that felt like giving up when the silence of others felt like rejection. Your silence does not cancel my word. Your hesitation doesn't delay my timing. Just because others didn't see it yet doesn't mean it isn't growing. The seed I placed in you was never meant to impress, it was meant to transform. And that kind of transformation doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes through quiet obedience, through doing what I asked even when no one claps, even when no one understands. Because I see what's coming, even when you don't. I see the fruit that will come from your faithfulness. And I see how your trust in me, especially when no one else affirms it, is what qualifies you to carry even more. You waited long enough, not for the right time, but for human approval. Now, I'm inviting you to shift your eyes. Look at me, not the crowd, not the ones who never responded, not the silence that wounded you. Look at me. I've been speaking all along. I've been confirming you in the stillness. I've been pouring identity into your spirit while you were wondering if you were forgotten. You weren't. You've been seen every moment. And now, I'm telling you to move, not because they noticed, but because I did. Because I always have. Because I know what I put inside of you. And I don't second guess my creation. This is your moment to stop asking for what I've already given. You don't need another yes. You don't need another title. You don't need another compliment. You have my voice. You have my call. And that is more than enough. Walk forward. Walk free. Walk boldly. You are not waiting anymore. You are stepping into everything I said you could become because I said it. And that's all that matters. You keep asking yourself, when will I feel ready? You've been holding back because the excitement didn't come, the fire didn't roar, the peace didn't settle the way you thought it would. So you assume the timing must be wrong. But child, readiness has never been about what you feel, it's always been about what I've already prepared. And I want to show you that your breakthrough, your next step, your release isn't delayed because something is missing, it's waiting on you to believe me even when you don't feel it. I am not bound by your emotions. I move through faith. And faith doesn't always come with butterflies and certainty. Sometimes, faith looks like trembling hands still reaching for me. Sometimes, faith sounds like a hesitant yes when your heart is filled with questions. Sometimes, faith walks even when every emotion says stay. You've looked for signs in the sky, for a surge in your chest, for something to shake the atmosphere around you so you can finally feel confident enough to obey. But faith isn't birthed in theatrics. It's built in trust. And right now, I'm not asking for a perfect plan. I'm asking for movement. One step in the direction I've already whispered to your soul. One decision that says, even if I don't feel it yet, I still trust you. Because what I'm calling you into won't always feel good, but it will be good. And your emotions, while real, were never meant to be your compass. I see how often you wait for your feelings to align before acting. You want the passion to drive you. You want the clarity to be absolute. You want the fear to be gone before you say yes. But that's not how my kingdom works. I use your yes, not your comfort. I bless your obedience, not your certainty. I didn't call you because you were fearless, I called you because you were willing. And right now, I'm asking for your faith to rise above your need for a feeling. Because I promise, once you move, the peace will follow. The fire will catch. The confidence will grow, not because you felt your way into action, but because you trusted me enough to move first. I know how tired your heart is. I know you've tried before. I know you stood on the edge, wanting to leap but paralyzed by the question, what if I'm wrong? But what if you're not? What if this is the very moment where everything shifts, not because it all makes sense, but because you trusted me more than your hesitation? I've never asked you to have it all figured out. I've only asked for faith. And faith doesn't require a mood, it requires a decision. Do you remember Peter? He didn't wait until the waves were still to step out of the boat. He walked into the chaos, eyes fixed on me. And yes, he sank, but only when he shifted his focus. Even then, my hand was already reaching. I never let him fall beyond my grace. And I won't let you either. If you step out and stumble, I will catch you. If you move forward and face resistance, I will strengthen you. What you're afraid of is failure, but what I see is growth. What you call a risk, I call trust. And I reward trust not with ease, but with deeper revelation of who I am. So stop waiting for the perfect feeling. Feelings will fluctuate. They'll lie to you, lift you, confuse you, and shift with a wind. But my word is constant. My promise stands. My direction doesn't change because your mood does. What I've spoken over you remains firm, even when your emotions try to shake it. Step forward now, not because it feels easy, but because your spirit knows it's time. You'll feel the confirmation later. But first, I need your faith. I know what I placed in you. I know what's ahead. And I wouldn't be asking you to move if I wasn't already standing in your future, waiting to welcome you into it. To come. Don't wait for the feeling. Let your faith lead. I'll meet you there. I see how your heart braces before you even open your eyes in the morning. How you run through potential problems before the day even begins. How you've learned to expect disappointment not because you want to be negative, but because you've been hurt so often that protection became your instinct. You've taught yourself to lower your expectations, to hope quietly, to celebrate cautiously just in case things fall apart again. And I understand that. I understand the logic you've built to shield your soul. But I didn't create you to live in constant defense. I didn't design you to always anticipate the storm. I designed you to trust the sunrise even after the longest night. And right now, I need you to know while you've been preparing for what could go wrong, I've been preparing what's about to go right. You've made plans for every possible failure. You've rehearsed how you'll respond if the worst happens again. But while you've been preparing for pain, I've been writing a new story. One filled not with fear, but with hope. One that doesn't revolve around protecting your heart from breaking, but inviting your heart to believe again. I haven't been working behind the scenes to test your endurance. I've been preparing a turnaround that your cautious optimism won't be able to explain. I'm building something that will catch you off guard, not because you were careless, but because you dared to believe that goodness was still possible after everything that's tried to tell you otherwise. It's okay to admit you've become used to disappointment. It's okay to be honest about how hard it's been to hold on to belief. I don't need you to fake strength or pretend like you're fearless. I just want your willingness. I want you to allow room in your heart again, not just for survival, but for joy. Not just for endurance, but for fulfillment. Not just for what might happen, but for what I am already doing. You don't need to keep running backup plans in your head. I am the plan. And I'm already ahead of every obstacle. Every detail you've worried about, I've already handled. Every scenario you've dreaded, I've already filtered through my mercy. What's coming next isn't going to require you to protect yourself, it's going to require you to trust me more than you ever have. Yes, I know that sounds risky. I know what trust has cost you before. But my hands aren't like theirs. My heart isn't like theirs. Where others walked away, I remained. Where others promised and failed, I fulfilled every word I've ever spoken over you, whether you've seen it yet or not. I never led you into hope so it could hurt you. I led you there so it could shape you. And now, I'm leading you again, not into disappointment, but into something sacred. Something that doesn't need to be earned. Something that doesn't have a hidden agenda. Just pure, simple, undeserved beauty, because I love you, and because I can. So let down your guard, not all at once, but little by little. Let the light in again. Let joy back into the parts of you that stopped believing you'd ever laugh without the weight of worry. I'm not saying you won't face hard days, but I am saying that goodness is on its way. That breakthrough is no longer a far-off dream, it's a real moment forming in the quiet that's about to break into your view. Don't miss it by focusing on what might still go wrong. Instead, begin to imagine what it would be like if things finally went right. Let yourself dream again, not as a setup for disappointment, but as a response to what I'm already building. You've spent enough time preparing for the pain. Now prepare for my promise. Open your hands not to shield, but to receive. Look forward not with suspicion, but with holy expectation. The shift is already happening, and this time, your heart doesn't need to prepare for heartbreak. It needs to prepare for beauty. I see the way you keep looking at the clock, measuring your progress against deadlines you didn't set but somehow carry like a weight. You've been comparing your timeline to others, wondering if you missed something, fell behind, or took a wrong turn. And now you feel the pressure building in your chest, the kind that whispers, you should be further than this by now. But I want you to hear me clearly. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not out of sync with your destiny. You're simply stepping out of your own timeline and entering mine. The world teaches you to hurry. It says faster is better, that earlier is more impressive, that success has an age and a deadline. But I don't operate according to the world's clock. I work in fullness, in ripeness, in perfect alignment. And what I've written over your life isn't dictated by how quickly you arrive, it's anchored in how deeply you trust. I'm not looking for speed. I'm cultivating strength. And while you've been watching the seconds pass, I've been preparing something timeless within you. Do you know why it's taken longer than you thought? Because I'm not just building the dream, I'm building you. I'm forming the character to carry the calling. I'm deepening your roots so your purpose will collapse under pressure. And though it's felt like delay, it's really been design. Every moment you thought was wasted has been part of the shaping. The seasons you labeled as stuck were actually where I was doing the deepest work, behind the curtain, underneath the surface, beyond what others could see. But looked like silence was sacred preparation. You've been asking when, Lord? And I've been answering, soon, but not rushed. Because when I move, I don't just give you something, I align everything. I coordinate people, timing, provision, wisdom, peace. I don't just open doors, I make sure you're ready to walk through them with confidence, not panic. That takes time. And you, my beloved, are worth the time. I refuse to rush what I intend to last. You are not a project to finish quickly. You are a vessel of glory, and I am fashioning you for something that cannot be microwaved or manufactured by man. You've measured your life by milestones, but I measure it by moments of surrender. And every time you chose faith over fear, even when you had to do it trembling, I counted it as progress. Every quiet prayer, every delayed decision done with wisdom, every unseen sacrifice, it all counted. It's all part of the momentum that's been building in ways you haven't even noticed yet. And soon, it will all make sense. So release the pressure. Let go of the fear that says you're running out of time. I am time. I created it. I hold it. And I release it in divine measure. And no one can delay what I've ordained. No missed opportunity can cancel my calling on your life. No failure has the authority to subtract what I've written in eternity. What's yours, and me, will come not a second early, not a moment late. When it arrives, you'll understand why it had to wait. You'll see how everything fit together, and the peace that floods your soul will be undeniable. Let today be the day you stop racing the clock. Let it be the day you stop comparing your pace to someone else's path. You are not running out, you are being filled up. Not falling behind, you are being aligned. I know what I'm doing, and I'm doing it perfectly. Rest in that. So instead of watching the clock, keep your eyes on me. I'll show you how to walk in rhythm with heaven. I'll show you that the life I've prepared doesn't come with panic, it comes with peace. You don't need to hurry. You just need to follow. My timing is not only good, it's flawless. And now you're right on time. I know how much you long for clarity, for the full map, the step-by-step path, the explanation that ties every moment together. I see the questions circling in your mind. Why did that happen? What does this mean? Where is this going? You've tried to piece it all together, hoping if you just understood the purpose, the pain would feel lighter and the path would feel safer. But child, I never ask you to make sense of the entire canvas. I ask you to trust the artist, the one who sees the beginning and the end, the one who uses every shade, every stroke, every detail, even the ones you don't like or understand, to create something meaningful. You're standing in a moment that feels unfinished. That's why it's uncomfortable. You're in the middle of a sentence I'm still writing, a scene I'm still unfolding. It's hard to rest when the story feels unresolved, when the edges are messy and the colors blur. But I haven't stepped away from the work. I'm still right here, brush in hand, fully invested in every detail of your life. What feels uncertain to you and uncertain to me. I am not trying to figure it out as I go. I already know how every piece connects. And even the seasons that feel wasted are woven into the masterpiece I'm creating. You've seen only fragments, moments of joy, valleys of grief, days of waiting, nights of doubt. But I see the full sweep of your life, from first breath to final heartbeat and beyond. And nothing is random. Not the delays, not the detours, not the heartbreaks or breakthroughs. Every chapter serves a purpose, even when the page you're on feels blank. I never leave a story unfinished. What I've started in you, I will complete. My promises don't dry up when things get unclear. They hold their weight even in the silence. I know what it feels like to live in the in-between. Between the dream and the door. Between the promise and the fulfillment. Between the pain and the purpose. And in that space, the enemy loves to whisper lies. He tells you I've forgotten. He tells you you failed. He tells you nothing is happening. But silence is not abandonment. Delay is not denial. Hidden doesn't mean hopeless. Just because the paint is still wet doesn't mean the picture isn't progressing. There is glory in the process. Even when it feels slow. Even when it feels still. There are things I grow in you through the waiting that you would never discover in the rushing. There are depths of character, wells of resilience, and roots of trust that only form when you choose to stay with me when it doesn't all make sense. I'm not asking you to pretend the confusion doesn't exist. I'm asking you to place it in my hands and let me turn it into clarity, in my time, in my way. You're not forgotten in the middle. You're being formed in it. And when you one day look back, you'll see how even the messiest strokes were necessary. You'll see how the shadows made the light more brilliant. How the delay sharpened your discernment. How the silence strengthened your faith. You'll see the entire canvas and you'll marvel. Not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. And every part, even the ones you tried to hide or erase, were redeemed into something breathtaking. So for now, trust the process. Keep walking, even if you don't see the full road. Keep believing, even if you don't feel full understanding. Keep surrendering, even if you're still waiting. I am not done. You are not finished. The brush hasn't been set down. The light is still spreading across the canvas. And when I'm done, you won't just see a story, you will see a testimony of my goodness, woven into every detail of your life. You don't need to see the whole picture to believe I'm still painting. You only need to trust that my hands are faithful, steady, and full of grace. I know how it feels when it seems like others are being chosen while you're still waiting. You've watched doors open for people around you, opportunities unfolding like scenes in a story, while your own chapter feels paused, untouched, hidden. You've been faithful. You've stayed when it was hard. You've prayed when you didn't feel strong. And still, the silence stretches. It's not that you're jealous, it's that your heart aches to know if your moment will ever come. You've wondered if I've passed you by, if maybe I changed my mind, if something in you disqualified what I once promised. But hear me now, with no confusion. I have not forgotten you. You are not lost in the crowd. You are not second in line. You are set apart. What looks like delay from your view is a divine reserve from mine. You are not late, you are being preserved. Because what I've placed inside you requires more than common conditions. I'm not preparing you for a temporary place, I'm preparing you for something sacred. Something that needs maturity, not just momentum. Something that requires deep roots, not just rapid rise. You weren't made for a flash of attention. You were made for impact that endures. And that kind of calling takes more than quick results. It takes time. And takes trust. It takes a heart that still says yes even when the room is empty, even when no one is watching, even when the door hasn't opened yet. You've seen others step into places you've prayed for, and quietly, you've asked me why. Not out of resentment, but out of longing. But I want you to know, I haven't kept you waiting to punish you. I've kept you waiting to protect what I'm building. Not because you're behind, but because you're being built different. And not everyone is called to walk where you're going. What you carry is precious. And I will not place it in just any space. I'm shaping the environment to match the assignment. I'm aligning the right people, timing, and covering so that when you step into what's next, it will not be rushed or resisted, it will be ready. You're not being ignored. You're being refined. Because I care too much about your future to hand it to you before you're fully able to hold it. I don't want your calling to crush you. I wanted to complete you. I want you to stand in the place knowing that it wasn't chance that got you there, it was covenant. It was obedience. It was every yes in private, every tear you prayed through, every moment you chose to believe in silence. That's what I'm honoring. Not performance. Not perfection. But faithfulness. So don't confuse hiddenness with insignificance. You're not buried. You're planted. And what's been growing in the soil of your surrender is about to break through in a way you couldn't orchestrate if you tried. You will need to force your way forward. I will open the way. I will lift you into it, not with noise, but with certainty. Because when it's time, you won't need to compete. You'll just need to step in. Let your heart rest from the strain of striving. Let your soul stop rehearsing ways to make yourself seen. I already see you. I've already chosen you. And when I reveal what I've been preparing, it will be undeniable. The doors that didn't open weren't your destination. They were protection. The silence wasn't rejection. It was strategy. The pause was impartial. It was a grace. Stay with me. Keep trusting. Keep showing up in the quiet. Your time is not passing you by. It's being perfected by me. And when I move, it will be worth every second you thought I wasn't watching. Because I was. And I still am. You're not overlooked. You're being positioned for something greater than you imagined and closer than you think. You've been feeling heavy lately, not just in your body, but in your soul. There's a pressure you can't quite explain, a weariness that doesn't go away with sleep, a sense that you're carrying something bigger than yourself. And you've asked me more than once, Lord, why is this so hard? You've questioned whether you missed a step, whether you're doing something wrong, whether I've placed too much on your shoulders. But I want you to understand this. The weight you feel is not punishment, it's purpose. It's not there to crush you. It's there to consecrate you. You're not overwhelmed because you're weak. You're overwhelmed because what you carry matters. What I've placed inside you isn't light, it's holy. It's meant to break chains, shift atmospheres, and speak life into places where silence has reigned for too long. And that kind of calling doesn't come without cost. You feel it because it's real. You feel it because your spirit is awake. You feel it because heaven has trusted you with something eternal. That burden in your chest, that pull in your heart, that tension between what you want to let go of and what you know you must finish. It's sacred, and I am walking with you through every ounce of it, not as a distant observer, but as a present help. You may not have words for what you're carrying, but I do. It's the weight of intercession, the ache of compassion, the fire of vision, the cry of destiny pushing through the walls of delay. It's not failure, it's formation. I am stretching you, yes, but not to break you. I'm expanding your capacity so that when the promise lands, you'll have room to hold it. You're being shaped by something invisible, but soon it will be seen. And when it's revealed, it won't just bless you, it will bless everyone around you. Because the kind of burden I place on my children never ends with them. It flows, it spreads, it multiplies. But I need you to stop thinking that heaviness means you've done something wrong. The enemy would love for you to believe that. He wants you to collapse under the lie that you're failing, when in truth, you're being refined. He wants you to retreat from the weight when I'm teaching you how to carry it with grace. You were never meant to bear this alone. You were meant to carry it with me. I never said the burden wouldn't exist. I said my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Not because life is light, but because I share the load. I walk beside you. I adjust the balance. I carry more when you can't. I don't hand you something sacred and then leave you to figure it out. I stay. I remain. I strengthen. And in this very moment, I want to remind you, it's okay to feel it. It's okay to acknowledge that it's heavy. Faith doesn't mean pretending it's easy. Faith means trusting me in the tension. Trusting that even in the weight, you are not losing. You are growing. Even in the tears, you are not unraveling. You are deepening. Even in the silence, I am not gone. I am near and near still to those who are pressed but not crushed, stretched but not broken, poured out but never empty. You are more filled than you realize. You are more anointed than you feel. And you are more ready than you think. So instead of running from the weight, bring it to me. Not just in pieces, but in full. Tell me where it hurts. Tell me where you're tired. Tell me what you fear you won't finish. I can handle it all. And I will remind you, again and again, that what feels heavy is holy. You are carrying purpose. You are holding destiny. And it's not too much because I am right here with you. So breathe. Exhale the lie that you're failing. Inhale the truth that you're favored. The weight is not the end of you. It's the making of you. And I will carry you through it all. You've wrestled in silence with a question that echoes through your mind more than you admit. Am I really the one you meant to choose? You've looked at your flaws, your history, your inconsistencies, and you've wondered if somewhere along the way, the promise was for someone better, someone stronger, someone more consistent in their faith, more qualified by human standards. But I never chose you because of what others see. I chose you because I see what they cannot. I see the depth of your heart. I see the sincerity of your pursuit, even when it's messy. I see the resilience that rose in you when you could have quit but didn't. And I see your readiness even when you don't feel ready. You've been asking for reassurance, waiting for a feeling that says you're finally enough. But beloved, I already decided you are. My promise doesn't come with a test you have to pass first. It comes with a posture, one of surrender, one of trust. You don't earn what I'm giving. You receive it. Not with perfect performance, but with persistent belief. And that belief needs to shift now from wondering if it will happen, to preparing as if it's already unfolding. You've prayed, you've asked, you've hoped, but now I'm asking something from you. Prepare. Prepare like someone who knows the answer is yes. Prepare like someone who believes their name is already attached to the next open door. Because faith isn't just waiting, it's building while you wait. It's setting the table before the guests arrive. It's filling the jars with water before the miracle turns it to wine. I want to see your preparation meet my promise in perfect timing. I want you to be found faithful, not just expectant. So start clearing the space. Emotionally, spiritually, mentally. There are some things you've been holding that you won't need in the next season. Old coping mechanisms, old thought patterns, old doubts. They don't belong where I'm taking you. If you keep carrying the weight of who you used to be, you'll miss the freedom of who you're becoming. It's time to declutter your spirit, to make room for the new thing I'm doing, not just when it arrives, but now. Stop replaying the reel of why it shouldn't be you. Stop rehearsing the reasons you're not enough. That list was never from me. That script was never heaven approved. I've called you worthy because I made you mine. And what I speak over you overrides what the world or your past has whispered to you. You've been chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are positioned by my hand, not your hustle. The enemy would love for you to stay paralyzed in doubt, to keep preparing for disappointment instead of preparing for destiny. But I'm breaking that cycle now. I'm inviting you into forward motion. No more standing at the doorway of the promise wondering if you're allowed in. Walk in. Walk like you belong because you do. Walk like the space was created with you in mind because it was. What I've promised isn't a maybe. It's a matter of time. And time, beloved, is moving. I've seen your quiet obedience, your hidden faithfulness. I've seen the way you've believed when you had no visible reason to. And I'm honoring that now. So don't wait for someone else to confirm it. Don't wait for the circumstances to look like success before you prepare like it's coming. I'm already moving. I'm already aligning. I'm already doing the things you've been too scared to ask for out loud. So shift your posture. Trade your hesitation for readiness. Trade your doubt for movement. Drain your fear for joy. I never forgot what I promised. And I haven't changed my mind about you. So rise up, child. Not because you have all the answers, but because you have a word from me. And my word is never empty. It's alive. It's active. And it's unfolding even now. Get ready not because you're trying to force it to happen, but because you finally believe it will. You've been asking me for a breakthrough, for an answer, for a shift in your life that will finally make all the waiting worth it. And I've heard every word, every whisper in the night, every breath of hope you released even when it felt like the air was too heavy. But what I'm doing in you goes far beyond a single moment of answered prayer. I'm not just building a blessing, I'm establishing a legacy. I'm not just giving you a breakthrough that ends a season, I'm initiating something that outlives the season entirely. And I need you to know this now, before it arrives. This is not small. This is not temporary. What I'm unfolding is generational, unshakable, and soaked in eternal purpose. You've been looking for signs that things are changing. And yes, change is coming. But more than that, establishment is coming. I'm not just turning things around, I'm rooting them so deeply in my presence that nothing will be able to shake them again. I'm giving you stability after years of uncertainty. I'm planting peace where anxiety used to grow wild. I'm sealing your identity in my truth so permanently that no lie can uproot it again. You won't have to keep circling the same struggles. You won't keep living in cycles of almost and not yet. Because I am settling some things once and for all. But you must understand, this isn't about a moment of arrival. This is about becoming. I'm not trying to get you to a finish line, I'm teaching you how to carry fire. You're not being prepared for a single breakthrough, you're being formed for a lifestyle of overflow. What I release into your hands will not just affect you, it will impact everyone connected to you. The doors I open won't just be for your relief, but for the release of others. The healing you fought for won't end with your body or your heart, it will spread to others because you'll carry the oil of experience, the fragrance of survival, the authority of someone who's walked through the wilderness and came out with water. So don't come into this next season with a temporary mindset. Don't just look for moments that make you feel good. Look for foundations. Look for alignment. Look for the things that may seem small now but will become pillars for the years to come. You've learned how to survive. Now I'm teaching you how to build. You've learned how to fight for peace. Now I'm teaching you how to live from it. You've learned how to ask for grace. Now I'm showing you how to walk in it, confidently, continually, without apology. This next stretch of your journey will not look like the last. Where you once begged for breakthrough, you'll now walk in clarity. Where you once feared you were forgotten, you'll now live knowing you are established. And no, it won't all be easy, but it will be anointed. You will feel my presence in the decisions. You will sense my hand in the alignment. You will see my fingerprints on every detail, and it will remind you that you're not moving on your own, you're moving with me. So prepare not just with hope, but with intention. Prepare your space. Prepare your habits. Prepare your heart. Because what I'm about to do won't just visit your life, it will dwell in it. I'm not pouring out something to thrill you for a day. I'm bringing something that will sustain you for a lifetime. This is bigger than you imagine, and you are more ready than you think. What I'm building in you can't be shaken. It won't fade with time. It won't collapse under pressure. Because it's not made of your effort, it's built with my spirit. And the one who begins a good work in you always completes it. I am that one. And I'm not finished, I'm just getting started. So lift your eyes, plant your feet, and prepare to carry what doesn't end. This is the beginning of something eternal. Amen.